We're back and we're setting a TBR. Hello everybody, welcome to Bandits and Bookworms. My name is Deidre and today we are setting my October TBR. I've been radio silent on this channel for a little while and part of that is because I just kind of fell off the YouTube making vibe for a little bit. The other part of it is because I was traveling for a really long time. I was in Ireland for the last week in August into September, and then for a large part of September I was in England traveling around with my family. So while all of this was going on, no YouTube videos were getting made. Kind of. I took a lot of footage when I was on these trips, and right now I am in the process of sifting through all of the footage, organizing it, putting them into different videos, and putting it all together so that I can release a few travel vlogs, including a come book shopping with me video. So I do have quite a book haul from that trip that may make appearances here in this video as we're setting the TBR, because I am trying to use mostly my physical TBR because it's gotten a little out of hand compared to how I usually like to have it. I usually like to have it under 30 or so, and I think I'm closer to like 60 or 70 right now unread books that I own. But we have a very cool special TBR to set. So in August and September, I didn't read much. I think in total between the 2 months, I read 3 books. I am behind my goal by like 15 books right now. So I'm going to try to power through some books in October, power through some books in November, and of course, power through some books in December to try to get me up to what my goal should be, which again is 100 books by the end of the year, and I've read 60 so far. So in October, I am following what may or may not be Becca from Becca and the Books. It may or may not be her last Spookoplathon, which is a readathon all themed around with a special spooky bookopoly board and has a bunch of different new cool prompts in there. So we are going to build our TBR today using entirely those prompts. Now there is one thing that I'm going to say. So I'm 2, 3. There's a few things I'm gonna say. Okay. The first is that I am going to try to limit this to my physical TBR. If and only if there is nothing from my physical TBR that will fit the prompt, then I will go ahead and go forward with getting something from my library or an ebook or something like that. The second thing is that I may have to adjust my headband a lot during this because like it's very cute but also very slick because it's kind of silky. The second thing is that I am already a third of the way into Starling House, which this is the Illumicrate edition. I don't have the dust cover on it because I don't want to damage it. It's one of the cooler dust covers I've gotten, but I'm a third of the way through Starling House. If I can fit this into one of the prompts, I'm going to. I know already, having done my book journal for this as of earlier today, that it fits several of them. So if I can fit it in there, I'm going to. The third and final thing is that I am going to be adding 10 books to my TBR, but I may come back and add more prompts as it goes on, as the month goes on, if I manage to finish those, because I haven't read basically in 2 months and I am feeling a little story deprived right now. So it's possible I get through a lot of books this month. So let's get into it. As usual, we're going to have our Bookopoly board, our Spookoplathon board here, which will follow along with us as we roll for where we are going to be going and what we are going to be doing. As we land on prompts, I will be explaining what each of the prompts is, and then if I need more help, Becca has a whole guide on Spookoplathon in her Google Drive for it, so I will link her video for Spookoplathon down below. But without further ado, let's start rolling. So we have our dice. When it comes to chance and community shelf, I'm going to use the same as my normal Bookopoly prompts, but otherwise all of the spaces on the board have been completely custom done, more or less. So I'm going to use this time this little teeny tiny mushy guy to move myself around. I'll see if I can find a similar one online that I can use for my approximation when I do this. I'm on go right now, so we're going to roll. That is a 7, a 6, and a 1. And I'm going to be taking notes on this and then adding it to my journal as to what my rolls all were. So if we move 7, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's a chance card. So I have to remember how to do the chance cards. Give me 1 second here. Oh, that's right. It's different things and I roll a d20. Sorry, when I say different things, I should probably be more specific. Huh? So chance is that I use a d20 and I roll that. Sorry, no, chance is a random number generator. I lied. So let me pull that up on my phone here. Editor's note, I didn't actually explain to you what this prompt means. It is a list of book titles. I'm going to randomly generate a number between 1 and 20, and then I will read that book title. Congratulations, now you know. It is not the dumb explanation I just gave you, which was completely incomplete, honestly. So, hooray. All right. Minimum 1, maximum 20. Let's go ahead and generate. There's 2 of these that I've already read on here. Numbers 17 and 18. I've already read them. Actually, the only one that's invalid is number 18. I will go again if it's a number 18. Otherwise, the other 2 that I have read on here are part of a series, and so I can just read the next one in the series. That's what I'll do. Number 10. Iris Kelly doesn't date. Shit. I already read that one too. And I think I've also read, I read 10 too. I lied and I finished that series. So, can't do that one. So I immediately lied. So I'm going to go again. 16. Boyfriend material. Okay. So boyfriend material is not one that I own. It is not one that I have, but I'll see if I can place a hold. Actually, before I stop. There we go. We're loading in. Okay, cool. Am I logged in? Yes, I am. Good. Okay, so let's search for boyfriend material. Search. Yep, there it is. Okay, there's 0 borrowers waiting on 1 copy, so I'll place a hold on boyfriend material, and I should... Oh, there's the book. It's available. Yep. Place hold. Submit hold. Hold placed successfully. So I should be able to pick that up tomorrow, which is super cool. Boyfriend material is our first one. Number 1 is done. Next move. Next one. Oh my god. It's another 7. It's a 5 and a 2. 7 is the most common roll, so I'm not surprised by that. 5 and a 2. That was the worst 5 I've ever written in my life. Lands us on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ghost face. Okay, cool. So these are some of the fun ones from this one specifically. So that's in the pinks. So all of the spaces are themed like different fall spooky things. So the pinks are fictional serial killers. So in this case, ghost face has to have a sound related word in the title. So that could be something like sing or crushed or whatever. So let me see what I have, and I will get back to you in a moment. All right, I'm gonna have to go check my one bookshelf out in my loft out here to see if I happen to have anything. Otherwise, I'm going to my digital TBR in Goodreads, so we'll see. Okay, I've maybe found one that I'm gonna like kind of fudge a little bit to get in here, but I'm gonna look at my actual TBR on Goodreads to see if there is a better one that fits this prompt, because this would be really fudging it. It would not work as far as this prompt was concerned, I think, if I had to go rules as written. So let me look at my digital TBR, see where we're at, and we'll go from there. This is I'm going to do on my computer really quick. One thing I will say while I'm getting everything pulled up is that I am one of the people who uses my TBR, my want to read shelf on Goodreads, as anything and everything that I've ever been interested in. So keep that in mind. So this is the first one I came across. So what I ended up doing was I ended up rating my want to read shelf by best rated to lowest rated. So I just came across this one, which is called A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. And I don't know if I'm in the mood for middle grade, but a middle grade might be an easy one to get through so that I can boost my numbers just a little bit as well. Plus this is a nominee for a Goodreads Choice Award in 2011. It seems kind of spooky. People have it shelved as young adult as well, not just middle grade. So maybe it's kind of in between the two and a little bit more adulty, but you know what? Let's see if my library has it. Let's just see. So they have it in an ebook. I'm going to look at the rest of my TBR really quick, see if there's anything else on there that like calls to me, but I doubt it's going to, honestly, but we'll find out. This is one that they might have at my library, that in physical form. They do. Okay. I'm going to go with the Echo of Old Books. Okay. So we are going to choose The Echo of Old Books for our ghost face prompt, which requires sound words because it's based on Scream. This one is about a woman who works in a bookshop, and she can feel, like a used bookshop, she can feel the echoes of owners past on each of the books, memories and things like that, it seems like, which is something only she can do. So it seems like there's a little bit of fantasy elements. And then she finds a book that's never been published, and it seems like there's two authors telling opposite sides of a story. It seems really interesting, so I'm fascinated by that one. So The Echo of Old Books is what we're going to do for that one. I do love the fact that we've managed to do 2 prompts now that I could not find anything for in my physical TBR. So honestly, we're doing great here. We continue our journey with another 7 and 2 totally different numbers again, a 4 and a 3. But these are pretty well balanced dice because we've gotten one of every single number now so far on those dice. Let's see where that gets us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pentacle. Okay. Pentacle is I have to read a book that is a 5-star prediction, which I can easily do from my physical TBR. So let me go take a look at that, and I will get back to you in a moment. Okay, for this one, I am going to choose Apprentice. What? Why can't I say book titles in these videos? I can say them just fine in normal conversation, I feel like, but I cannot say them in these videos. So for this prompt, I'm going to choose Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mehrer. This is the sequel to Assistant to the Villain, which is also on my shelves back there. I just picked this one up. I wanted to make sure I got it early so that I got the sprayed edges to match my red sprayed edges with Assistant to the Villain. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I have not taken off my sticker yet. This is the sequel. So I'm not going to go into what this one's going to be about because that's spoilers for the first book. But the first book, as Assistant to the Villain, is about Evie, who is kind of a down on her luck average peasant girl in this village, is looking for a job. She's just lost her job at the blacksmith, and she's looking for a job to help support her family. And she ends up seeing a help wanted sign for the villain. She goes, she interviews, sort of, and she gets the job. And so the villain is literally named the villain, and he is the villain for this whole town, this whole area. And it is kind of a fun comedic twist on your normal, like, enemies to lovers kind of trope. So this one I am very excited to get into on the sequel. I've been waiting for it for over a year. I did not know when I read Assistant to the Villain that it was a series. I thought it was a standalone. And so when it got toward the end and it wasn't wrapping up, I got really concerned. And then I looked it up and saw that A, because I got it when it released, I was looking forward to that release too. It had a sequel, and B, we had no release date at the time, or at least I think we knew it was going to be late this year. I was bummed. So the fact that I have this now is so exciting. So I'm definitely going to add this to my TBR in October. Oh my God, we have a book to start our pile. Yay, books and piles and things. Okay, next roll. Ooh, we got a different roll this time. We got a 5 and a 3. We got an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that is a Shirley Jackson prompt. So for these prompts, these are the horror authors, and you can either read a book that is by the author, or you can follow the prompt. And for Shirley Jackson, the prompt is to have a building on the cover. And lucky me, I knew it, like it was fate. I am gonna choose Starling House for this prompt because the building is the cover on the Illuminate Crate edition. It's both sides of the building. It's the front and the back. And the back has like a lot of really cool spooky stuff on it. It's got like all the Starling graves on it and everything. And it's a gorgeous edition of the book. And first off and second off, I don't think there's a more perfect book to use for this. So I'm gonna use Starling House for that. I feel like I need to put my dust jacket on while it's sitting in the pile because you can't tell what it is otherwise. Now that we have done that, let's do another roll. Okay, we got a 4, a 2, and a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Community shelf. I feel like I land on the community shelf spots a lot. Obviously not at this exact moment, but like just in general whenever I've rolled Bookopoly and things. All right, so community shelf is a D20 roll. I don't think I have my D20 in here anymore. All right, I'm going to need to go grab another D20 really quick. Give me one moment. I've got my D20 here. Let's take a look and see what we can find here for our community shelf roll. So community shelf, for those who don't know, is a list of prompts that I just roll the D20, and then whatever it lands on, I have to follow that prompt. So 17, magical realism. Oh man, I'm gonna need to look up the magical realism tag on Goodreads, I think, and just see what I have on my TBR that's on there, because I don't know how many of those books exist on my shelves. Would Emily Wilde count for that? Let's switch over to the computer screen again. Is Emily Wilde's magical realism? That way, I didn't know how to spell that. Yeah, people do tag it as magical realism. So, okay, perfect. Excellent. That makes this super easy. Alrighty, for this one, we are going to go with Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett. This is another sequel. This is the sequel to Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I read earlier this year. And I was waiting for this edition to come out because I wanted it to match my edition of the first book, which I got back from my travels and I saw that it had and I picked it up. Again, I'm not going to spoil too much about the first book, but a synopsis for the first one is that Emily Wilde is a scientist. She studies the Fae, which do exist in our world. She goes to this little teeny tiny town in Norway and is trying to figure out a bunch of the Fae secrets that are there. And she's kind of insufferable. And then her colleague Wendell shows up and starts, you know, doing things with her and everything. And so it's got some romance subplot. It's got some Fae magical realism. It's a lot of fun. The dynamic between the two of them is a lot of fun. So I'm very excited to get into Map of the Otherlands. So that is our halfway mark. That's our fifth book. So hopefully we're doing okay here. Okay, next roll. A 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, okay. Landing on big book, which is no different than the prompt on regular Bookopoly. So I need to find a book that is more than 500 pages. I already have one in my head that I know I could read, but I'm going to check another one because I think it's a little bit more in theme, but we'll see. Okay, it's been on my TBR before. It's going to be there again. We're going to try it. Malice by John Gwynne. This is a true fantasy. It is not the easiest read in the world. I mean, it's not like a hard read necessarily, but it is. I only got 20 pages into it last time I tried it before I like had to put it down. So, but I'm hoping that with the invigorated spirit I currently have, I can get through this. So we'll do that. Next roll. An 8. A 6 and a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, we finally got an actual Halloween space again. Look at that go. Pumpkin carving is, I believe, that it has to have a face on it. Yes, there has to be a face on the cover. So, and this doesn't have to be like a face is the predominant thing. There just has to be a face on the cover. If it's like a romance novel that doesn't have faces on it, that wouldn't count. So I'm going to try to find an easier read for this one. So give me a second. I think I have an idea of what I want to do. Okay. I'm going to pick one that seems kind of weird given the theme of the episode, but it's one that I meant to get to over the summer and I didn't. And every time I look at it, it makes me feel guilty. And I want to stop feeling guilty looking at it. So that is Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. This is a romance book. I went to a talk by her and Allie Hazelwood, and they were both so funny. And I loved both of them so much. And I was there for the Allie Hazelwood release of Not in Love, but at the same time, Danielle Allen had Curvy Girl Summer coming out. And so I picked it up without even really knowing the synopsis, because Allie endorsed it and I'm kind of romance girly, and also I wanted to support an author that I really enjoyed listening to speak, and she was just so smart and like so funny and I really enjoyed her. So that's why I feel guilty every time I look at this, and I haven't read it yet because yes, while my dollars have gone toward her and that's great, I don't feel like I have actually consumed her media yet and really been able to endorse it. So I'm going to add this to my TBR, Curvy Girl Summer. So that is 7 books currently on the TBR. Let's get number 8, shall we? That's an 11. So that is a 5 and a 6. So it's an 11. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Black. Okay. So these areas all have to do with spooky colors. So we have black, blood, and bone. So we've landed on black, which means we need to find a book with a black cover, which should be doable. So, okay. So because I have Malice on here, I'm now trying to pick slightly easier reads, which means I'm going a lot into the romance. However, this is a dark romance and also definitely has a black, it's probably the blackest cover I have right now, and that is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. So this is sort of a retelling, sort of not. It is a twisted, but there's also like a Disney Twisted series, so I don't want it to feel like I'm like saying those are the same thing. They're not, but it is a different version of like if I think it's if Wendy and Captain Hook got together, but it does have fantasy elements, I think. No, okay, it's not a fantasy. No fantasy elements. It literally says it's not a fantasy or a retelling on the in there. So inspired by maybe the characters from Peter Pan, but different. Curious to see what this is about. I've heard really good things about it in the entire series. There's Scarred and also Wretched as well. So yeah. Next roll is a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, Broomstick. Broomstick is something with a clean cover, like a simple or a clean cover. When I had first conceived of that prompt, what I had thought of was Malice. It's not like the most simple cover, but it feels pretty like clean because of just it's a sword and then just a little bit of detailing around the edges, but that's about it. The spine also is just very like nondescript. It's just that's it. So I'm gonna have to see. I'm gonna have to see what I've got as far as clean covers go, because I read a lot of fantasy and those are very busy covers a lot of the time. So, oh, you know what? Actually, I think I know what I'm going to do. Okay, for this one, I'm actually going to do one that was just recently gifted to me by a friend, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. So this is one that's been on my list forever. I honestly couldn't even tell you exactly what it's about anymore without reading the back of it, which I kind of want to go in blind now because this is just one of the more popular books that I have seen on the Book Talk, BookTube spaces. I like the cover of it. It is very clean. It's very minimal. You know, there's this kind of design in the center, but otherwise it's pretty simple. Plus, this knocks out a few of the things that I've been really like interested in for a really long time. So, all right. Is this our last roll? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is our last roll. Let's see if I can sneak Heartless Hunter in here, which is the Crimson Moth for those who are not in the US. I don't know why they changed the title over here, but Heartless Hunter is a book club pick this month for me. So let's see if I can sneak it in here. Otherwise, I'm going to have 11 books on my TBR. All right, let's see what we got here. 5. Okay, so we got a 5, a 2, and a 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the mood read space. So the mood read space is one that Becca kind of left open to interpretation a little bit. So you can either pick a mood read that you're interested in right now to put on the TBR, or you can leave the space open for a mood read at some point during the month, and I think I'm going to leave it open. So free space. I'm hoping that I'll be in the mood to read Heartless Hunter sometime soon because I have to have that done by like the 17th or something. But that gives us our TBR. That's a pretty good list, I think. So our final list is Boyfriend Material, The Echo of Old Books, Apprentice to the Villain, Starling House, Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, Malice, Curvy Girl Summer, Hooked, The Night Circus, and a free space for a mood read, maybe Heartless Hunter. That's pretty good. So I've now got 10 or 11 books on this list of things to do. I am very excited for this. I love this Spookoplathon board, and if I manage to get through all 10 of these books, which would be kind of a feat, so I don't think that I'm going to, but if I do get through all 10 of them, I've had a couple of months where I've read 12, I will roll again and see what I find. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like down below. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet already. Please also subscribe to see my travel vlogs. There's a lot that's going to go in there. A lot of it centers around books or bookish themed things because that's what I was interested in seeing a lot of when I was overseas. But otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Nope, that's not my outro. That's Markiplier's outro. It's been a while since I filmed, can you tell? I hope you are practicing safe text. Bye.